the viewers and welcome to V Concept College English. My name is Ernest. Today I want to start a new series on lessons and structure. And this series is entitled 200 Commonly Misused Expressions in Everyday English. 200 commonly misused expressions in everyday English. Therefore, in this series, we shall look at the reasons for misused expressions in English and offer tips for avoiding these mistakes in your speech and writings. Kindly follow up with all the videos that we shall be uploading in this series to catch a glimpse of the full gist. Have a happy viewing. Welcome to the 9th episode of our 21 in 1 video series entitled 200 Commonly Misused Expressions in Everyday English. We have been on this series for quite some time now, where we are trying to research into various expressions that are commonly conflicted in everyday usage. I'm sure that if you are able to follow up with all the videos that we shall be uploading on this series, you're going to find them somewhat helpful in everyday conversation. And if you are a student, you are also going to find them somewhat relevant to most English language examinations at various levels. Therefore, I encourage you to try to follow up with all the videos that we shall be uploading on this series. In today's episode, however, we shall be considering word sets 71 to 80. And the expressions that we shall be considering in this episode include, I am angry at you. I am angry with my car. She's good at maths. He's good at English. He's not on seat. I met your absence. Thank you, bless God. Or thank you, don't mention. Questions are welcomed. We were welcomed. Would you borrow me your pen? Now, these are the expressions that we shall be considering in this episode. And as our custom has been, we shall pick an expression from here and bring it down to our table of analysis, where on this first row, we shall be using the expression to construct a non-standard sentence to reflect the errors that are commonly associated with the expression in everyday conversation. Then moving on to the next row, we shall try to highlight the possible errors that are associated with the expression as constructed. Then after that, we shall try to reconstruct the expression in standard usage in green. Then finally, we shall offer some grammar tips that can help to avoid the possible errors that we must have spotted with the non-standard expression as constructed. So this is what we shall be doing in this video today. Right away, let's get started with our first expression, which is I am angry at you. Our first non-standard expression in this episode is I am angry at you. And I have duplicated that expression by creating a second one, which is I am angry at my dog. The conflict that we are trying to bring out from these two expressions has to do with the use of or the appropriate preposition to use with this word angry. If you go to the standard usage, that is the standard construction of the expressions, we have something like I am angry with you and I am angry with my dog. So the conflict is, do we use the preposition at with the word angry, or we use the preposition with the word angry? Now let's go over to the grammar tips. Angry with is used when referring to living things, that is persons, animals, and so on. So we use angry with. You can put this in quotes. Angry with is used when referring to animals. And like we have under the standard version, we have something like I am angry with you, or I am angry with my dog, then you know that a human being is a living thing, animate. In the same way, a dog, like we have in the second expression, is a living thing or animate as well. Instead of saying, I am angry at you, you would say, I am angry with you. And instead of saying, I am angry at my dog, you would say, I am angry with my dog. So this is how we can analyze these expressions in everyday conversation. With that, we move over to our second word set, which is, I am angry with my car. Our second non-standard expression from word set 72 is, I was angry with my car because it was not starting. With two words underlined in the expression, angry with, indicating a lexical error. And that is the error type to which the expression can be classified. Now, what is the grammar tip to explain that? Like we established under word set 71, we said at word set 71 that angry at may be used with non-living thing, whereas angry with is used with living things. So the opposite will now be the case here. Angry at is used when referring to non-living thing, I just said that, like door, windows, car, etc. But like we established on that word set 71, angry with may only be used with living things or animate, like persons or animals. So what then would be the standard usage of this expression? Like we have here in green, you could say, I was angry at my car because it was not starting. So instead of saying I was angry with my car because it was not starting, you would say I was angry at my car because it was not starting. So you can say I am angry at the door, I am angry at my car, I am angry at the window. But if it is humans or human beings or persons or even animals, that is living things, you would not say I am angry at. You are going to say I am angry with. I am angry with John, not I am angry at John. So that is how we can analyze this expression in everyday conversation. With that, we move over to our next word set, which is she's good at maths. Our third non-standard expression from word set 73 is she is good at mathematics. We also have a pair of expressions to consider here, where the second one is she is good in mathematics. So what are we going to say? Are we going to say that someone is good at mathematics or that someone is good in mathematics? When you look at the expressions very closely, you would discover that we have marked both expressions with asterisk, showing that both expressions are grammatically alright. They are grammatically well constructed. Then what can we say about the error type? The only conflict that we can bring out from the pair of expression would be something like misinterpretation. That is what we refer to as grammatical ambiguity. Why do we say that the conflict coming from these two expressions would likely have to do with interpretation? Let's go over the grammar tips so that we can explain further. When we come to the grammar tips, for the first one we have that good at means she handles mathematics well. That is talking about expertise. She's expert at mathematics. Then for the second one we have good in. So when you say she's good in mathematics, what you are saying is that she's well behaved in the mathematics class. So you can see the conflict coming from the two expressions. We have to be very conscious of what we are saying so that we will not send mixed signals to the people that we are communicating with. So if you want to say that the person can solve mathematics, if that is what you want to say, then try to stick to the first expression, which is she is good at mathematics. That talks about the fact that the person has the ability for mathematics. The person understands mathematics and can solve mathematics. But when you want to say that the person is well behaved in the math class, or that the person conducts him or herself very well in the math class, then you are going to say that the person is good in mathematics. The two expressions can never be interchanged as far as British English is concerned. Therefore, always stick to she's good at mathematics to say that someone can solve mathematics, or that she can solve mathematics, or that she understands mathematics. So that is how we can analyze this expression in everyday English. With that, we move over to our next word set, 74, which is he is good at English. So here we're also going to be talking about things like she's good at English and she's good in English. Our next non-standard expression from word set 74 is he is good at English. Just like we established at word set 73, where we considered a pair of expressions, we also have a pair of non-standard expressions here to consider. And the second one is he is good in English. Like we established under word set 73, the conflict between these two expressions, because they are both grammatically correct, the only conflict that we can bring out from the pair of expressions could be something like distorted interpretation. That is, when you say someone is good at English and you mean to say that the person is good in English, then there's going to be a misrepresentation of fact, or there's going to be a misinterpretation of what you are trying to say. And or when you're trying to say that someone is good in English and at the end of the day you use he's good at English, then you're going to pass a different message across to your listener, and you may not be aware that you are sending the wrong message across. So this is what we mean by these expressions. Now, what are the grammar tips? We have under the standard usage that both expressions are grammatically perfect. Like we have the green asterisk for the two expressions. They are grammatically correct and usable in English. So for the first one, we are going to say that it means this fellow is good at speaking and writing. That is dexterity. The person has expertise at English. The person has ability for English. So that is what we mean when you say that someone is good at English. What about when you say that someone is good in English? When you say that someone is good in English, for the second grammar tip here, you are saying that the person is well behaved in the English class. So this is how we can analyze these expressions in everyday English. With that, we move forward to our next word set, 75, which is he is not on seats. Our next non-standard expression from word set 75 is he is not on seat. He is not on seat, with the two words on seat underlined to indicate a lexical error as the error type to which the expression can be classified. Now, instead of saying he is not on seat, you could say he is not in the office, or you say he is not in his office. Now, what are the grammar tips to explain that? For the first one, we have that you could say he's not at his desk, for example. That is, if you are referring to someone that is working in a large office, that is, when you're referring to one of the workers in an office, then you can say that the particular worker is not at his desk. But you would never say he is not on seat. And as a matter of emphasis, not on seat is not usable in English. This is how we can analyze this expression in everyday conversation. With that, we move forward to our next word set, 76, which is I met your absence. Our next non-standard expression from word set 76 is I came to your house, but I met your absence. Here we are again having a pair of expressions under non-standard, where the second expression is I came to your house and met you absent. Take note that these two expressions are grammatically incorrect as they contain a semantic error. What again is a semantic error? An expression contains a semantic error if there are some words that are disorderly in it. In other words, if there are certain words that have been poorly organized or poorly arranged to form the expression, then we are going to say that the expression has a semantic error because it is capable of producing a distorted interpretation. For the first expression, it says, I came to your house, but I met your absence. And under the first grammatic, we have that it is not possible to meet an absence. Therefore, the first expression is vague, as absence is intangible. Absence is not a concrete noun. It's not something that you can meet. Then for the second grammatic that is having to do with the second expression, which says, I came to your house and met you absent. We have here that the person wasn't there. So you didn't meet him at all. This is why these two expressions are grammatically incorrect. So what do we have for these two expressions under standard usage in green? We have something like, I came to your house, but I found you thus absent, where X here could be blank or could be where or to be. So you can fix anything. So when we leave here blank, then this expression is going to read as, I came to your house, but I found you absent. Or you say, I came to your house, but I found you were absent. Or for the third where you can put it, you can say something like, I came to your house, but I found you to be absent. With that, we'll move forward to our next set of expressions, 77, which is, thank you, bless God. Our next non-standard expression from word set 77 is in the form of a conversation between John and Mary. John says to Mary, thank you very much. And in response, Mary says, don't mention. What are we going to make out of that? Mary is asking John not to mention after John has mentioned it. That is on one hand. On the other hand, Mary is as well saying something like, bless God. Let's take note that the two expressions here in Mary's aspect of the conversation are colloquial. And that is the error type to which this particular expression can be classified. Take note that John's version of this conversation is grammatically perfect. Now, what again is colloquialism? A colloquial expression is an expression that you may only use with people that are close and or related to you. So the use of bless God in this expression is also colloquial. The expression bless God may not be acceptable in formal writing, like when you are writing a formal letter or things of that nature. Now, what is the standard usage? It's still in the form of a conversation where John says, thank you very much to Mary. In response, Mary is supposed to say, you are welcome. You are welcome. And what are the grammar tips to explain that? Number one, welcome is used as an adjective to mean appreciated. So when someone says thank you to you, then you go to, if you don't want to say you're welcome, you can also tell the person you're appreciated. You're appreciated. You're welcome. You're appreciated. And when someone tells you you're appreciated, then you will tell the person you're welcome. Or when someone tells you you're welcome, you can as well tell the person thank you. So vice versa. Then for the second grammatic, we have something like bless God. Like I said at the beginning of this analysis, bless God is church English from Colossians chapter 3 verse 17, which says, and whatever you do in word or deed, do everything in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, giving thanks to God the Father through him. You know, what we mean by church English is there are so many expressions in the Bible that have been coined and translated into everyday conversation. Such expressions are colloquial expressions because they are not acceptable in formal context. But you can use them with people that are close to you or people that are related to you. So when someone says thank you, like I said initially, what you should say to the person is you're welcome in formal context, and not don't mention, not bless God, no matter how religious you are, no matter how spiritual you are. But you can say bless God in church settings, that is under church English. You know, you are speaking church English to people who are close to you or people who are related to you, as I said earlier on. So that is how we can analyze this expression in everyday English. With that, we move forward to our next set of expressions, 78, which is questions are welcomed. Our next non-standard expression from word set 78 is your questions are welcomed. And we're also having a pair of expressions here under the non-standard, where the second expression is you are welcomed to stop by. Let's take a good note of the word welcomed that is underlined in both expressions to indicate a semantic error, and that is the error type to which the two expressions can be classified. Now, what are the standard ways that we can use these same expressions under the standard usage? For the first one, we have your questions are welcome. And for the second one, we have you are welcome to stop by. Now let's go over the grammar tips. For the first one, we have that welcome is used as an adjective to mean appreciated. Let's take a good note of this word, welcome. This word can be used both as an adjective and as a verb. So you're going to make it a point of duty to decode the form of the word that it is, whether it is being used as a verb in your expression or in the context, or whether it is being used as an adjective. And don't forget the way to use adjectives in expressions. An adjective can be attributive or it is predicative. When an adjective is used before the noun that it is modifying, then we say it's an attributive adjective. But when it is used after the noun that it is modifying and connected to that noun with the aid of a linking verb, then we are going to say that that adjective is a predicative adjective. So in this context, your questions are welcome. This word here, welcome, being used as an adjective, is in the predicative case because it is modifying questions, but it is not directly linked to questions. It's not used before question, but it's used after question and attached or connected to it by this linking verb are. Therefore, this word is purely an adjective and not a verb. Another way you can also figure it out is by asking yourself whether the word welcome is actually performing an action or a real action in this expression. You are welcome. So if you are welcome, you are welcome. So is this welcome actually an action here or activating anything? No. Then in the same way, your questions are welcome. As for the first one, then for the second one, you have you are welcome. You are welcome. This welcome is not saying something forceful. In other words, it's not an action in this expression. So if it is not a verb, then it cannot take the past tense form. This is why your questions are welcomed is not correct. So instead of saying your questions are welcomed, you would say your questions are welcome. And instead of saying you are welcomed, you would say you are welcome to stop by. You are welcome to my house. So this is how we can discuss this expression in everyday conversation. With that, we move forward to our next set of expressions, 79, which is we were welcome. Now this time around, there's no D here. Let's go into the analysis and figure it out. Our next non-standard expression from word set 79 is we were welcome into the home. We are actually considering a pair of expressions here again under the non-standard, where the second expression is we welcome the rain but not the mud it left behind. Like we explained under word set 78, we did say that the word welcome can be used as a verb and at the same time as an adjective. Then you are going to try to figure it out in an expression whether it is performing a real action or whether it is just descriptive. Now, in this expression, where you have something like we were welcome, something like you can refute this welcome by a word like received. We were received, or we were accepted. We were received or we were accepted. So it cannot take present tense form. In other words, it cannot take the form of not having the ed suffix. So this expression can be said to have a lexical error. In other words, the two expressions can be said to have a lexical error. Then how can we talk about these expressions in standard usage? For the first one, we have something like we were welcomed into the home by all three kids. Here, we were received into the home. So welcome is going to take D because it is being used as a verb in this expression. We were welcomed, not we were welcome without D. Then for the second one, you have something like we welcomed the rain, but not the mud it left behind, like we have in the non-standard case. From here, I think it's a bit much clearer when you see something like we welcomed the rain. So here you cannot think of using this word without the ed suffix to express its past tense form. We welcomed the rain, like we received the rain. So it must take the ed form, that is the past tense form. So we're already talking about the grammar tips like we have here. The word welcome can take ed and ing suffixes when used as a verb. So you can also say things like we are welcoming the rain. We welcomed the rain. We are welcoming the rain. We welcomed a baby. We are welcoming a newborn. So this is how we can talk about the word welcome, both as an adjective and as a verb. With that, we can now move forward to our final word set in this episode, which is, would you borrow me your pen? Our final non-standard expression in this episode is, please, would you borrow me your pen? Please, would you borrow me your pen? Now, when you look at the expression very closely, you would find the word borrow underlined to indicate a lexical error. And that is the error type to which the expression can be classified. What again is a lexical error? A lexical error is the situation where a word has been wrongly used in an expression, therefore producing a distorted interpretation. Now, when someone says, would you borrow me your pen? There's going to be a misinterpretation of the intended meaning of that expression. So instead of saying, please, would you borrow me your pen? You could say, please, I want to borrow your pen. Or, please, would you lend me your pen? For the grammar tips, we have that to borrow means to take, while to lend means to give out. So, for this expression which says, would you borrow me your pen? The pen belongs to the person. So it is lent that it's supposed to be used in this expression. So you have something like, please, would you lend me your pen? We already have it here. Please, would you lend me your pen? Because the pen belongs to the person and you're asking whether the person would give it to you. Alternatively, you can say, please, I want to borrow your pen. That is, I want to take your pen. So this is how we can analyze these expressions in everyday conversation. And with that, we come to the end of this 9th episode in our 21 in 1 video series. I do hope you had a great time with the lesson. Please kindly drop your comments and questions under the video to keep the conversation going. Also remember to share to friends, click like and subscribe. Stay blessed till we meet again.